What's up, guys? Sorry, I've been kind of MIA for the last week. I'm not feeling too hot in the last few days. And then last week, I had my daughter over a few days of Halloween, or the first few days before Halloween, and then we had Halloween. So I haven't had much time to do really anything. But I have been watching. I think I'm gonna skip over the spoiler-free portion of this, and that's just because I liked the episodes, but I did not like them enough to watch them and take notes and all that. I watched them to enjoy them. Um, so there will be no spoiler-free portion of this. And they were very Lexi-centric episodes, which I'm not really caring for too much. Hold on, it's getting cold in here. Let me throw my jacket on. Jesus Christ, that's going haywire. Alright, um, so I'm not really digging the whole multiple episodes of Lexi-centric uh, things. Like, I understand she's one of the main characters, but I think they're doing too much too soon with Lexi. They're not doing something and letting it kind of sit and build. They're just like, yeah, I hate this bitch. Now, I want you to like her. Um, so we go into episode 3. Chucky is trying to convince Jake that he needs to kill Lexi. He needs to unleash that killer in him. When Jake realizes he can't do it, Chucky just, pussy, let me do it. So Jake gives uh, Lexi the Chucky doll for Caroline after Lexi apologizes for the whole dad thing, which you can tell was a half-assed apology. Um, Even Junior was like, dude, that was my fucking uncle. You know, you you're a terrible person, but didn't say those words, but he insinuated it. Um, but the whole episode was more or less just Chucky trying to get Lexi alone to where he can kill her. And the uh, one kill, which was an accident, uh, he thinks Lexi's coming out of the room, stabs at the leg, and it's Oliver, Lexi's love interest aside from Junior. So it was a happy little accident in some people's eyes. Um, but Chucky's like, man, I fucked up. Oh well, fuck it. And just starts stabbing him. And a lot of people had issue with the way Chucky was stabbing him because you can tell that the knife is not making contact. Uh, let's see, the flashback for that episode. Uh, he starts talking about his first kill because Jake asks him, do you remember your first kill? And Chucky's like, oh, of course, you never forget your first time, kind of playing on the whole sexual themes as well as. And he's like, you want to make sure your first time is with someone special. And they start hinting around that it's this little girl who is a lot like Lexi and cut the fucking cake, which she doesn't say fucking, but she's, pushing him to do all this at his birthday party, nonetheless. But the whole time you're hearing about this serial killer who's on the loose, and I think they're wanting you to think that it's Chucky or Charles, as he's then known. Uh, but it's not. It's just some random dude. He comes in and stabs the fuck out of Charles' dad, and Charles watches as he's sitting there stabbing his fucking dad. Well, his mom comes up, grabs him, and as he's walking past his dresser, he just kind of palms a blade. And you'd think, okay, he's going to take out the serial killer, and they're going to try to make him into more of an anti-hero. But no. The serial killer opens the door, and his mom's laying dead. And he's like, oh, look, I helped. And I thought that was cool. He's fucked up from the start. I thought that was cool. Um, but with the shit party, Lexi's party, you've got all the kids there. They're doing what they call a silent rave, I guess is what people call it. Got headphones on and no loud music. It's just coming through the headphones, but they're all sitting there dancing. And so obviously they don't hear Oliver getting killed because they've got the headphones on. And then for some reason, Lexi goes up to her room, not trying to take Oliver, not trying to take Junior, none of that. She just goes up to her room and starts smoking a joint like nothing happened. She sees Chucky's shoes, and she's like, wait a minute, what's going on? And about that time, Chucky comes up behind her, starts strangling her, and trying to choke her out. And I don't know. I just don't know how to feel about this episode because like some parts you have iconic things like Chucky standing in the blaze of fire that was created from the joint, and then you've just got this real slow pacing going, which I don't mind slower pacing with it being a TV show, but when it's just I don't know how to describe it. Like, I guess it's because we were focused on a character that I really didn't give a shit about. But it's like I felt like there was too much to it. I felt like it was just building too much and we didn't get the payoff we deserved. Episode 4 picks up the same night in the hospital. All the kids are hurt. That's another thing that bothered me about this episode. Like, I understand you got headphones in, you can't hear, but that does not affect your sense of smell. And everybody from a young age knows what fire smells like. Um, it's just engraved in our brains at that point. So the fact that the house burnt as much as it did before anything was found or before it was noticed was just redundant. But as I was saying, episode 4 picks up same night. You've got all the kids in the hospital except for Oliver for obvious reasons. there was a couple good little things, like when Lexi's parents were like, "Oh well, this was your fault." And Junior and Junior's parents sitting there, "No, this was your fault. You let your kids have this party and da 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 da. They were unattended. How long has this been going on?" And they're like, "Well, your kid was there too. How, you know?" Uh, so I did like that. I did like the acting in that. I think it helps a lot that the girl who plays Lexi, her actual mom, is the actress that plays her mom in the TV show. Um, so I think that helped with the emotion in the whole situation. Like, hey, you're talking about my fucking kid here. Um, I really don't need to be drinking this while I'm feeling like shit. Um, then we got Caroline, who obviously got the worst of it all. I don't know how, but she got the worst of it all. She's in the ICU on a ventilator, which I mean I can see. She was, in Chucky's words, snug as a fucking bug in the bed. Then you pan over, you start seeing all the kids. You know, uh, Junior has something wrong with his lungs because of it. Like, he caught a lot of smoke. Um, Devin, uh, oddly enough, isn't really hurt, and neither is Lexi. But from the start of the episode, we see Lexi, we see her. She comes up to Jake. She's like, "Hey, your fucking doll's alive. He tried to kill me." And Jake doesn't even try to hide it. He's like, "Yeah, I know. I sent him after you." I mean, not in those words, but. And instead of going and telling somebody, "Hey, he wanted me dead. He sent a doll to fucking kill me," she's like, "Well, nobody will believe us. Let's team up." I'm sorry, if you're coming to kill me or you send somebody to kill me, I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, nobody's gonna believe me, so I'm gonna team up with you, even though you just tried to kill me." So that kind of threw me off a little bit, and that's straight from Jump Street. Um, we got the entire episode takes place pretty much in the hospital. There's a little deal where, like, a ball comes rolling up to Jake's foot, and a mom comes and picks the ball up, and they make eye contact. The mom just kind of smiles at him and takes it over to a little kid. Later, we see the little kid is wearing good guy clothes. And throughout the entire episode, we're seeing what appears to be a good guy run across the halls of the hospital. Now, the good guy that it shows has long hair, and the baby does not. I'm wondering if they put that in as like a haha red herring. You thought Chucky was here, but he wasn't, type thing, or if it's saying that there's actually more than one Chucky there, which I will get into in a minute. Um, the kids, Jake and Lexi, then go to Lexi's burnt up home to make sure that Chucky is dead, which to me makes no sense. Once again, you trying to kill me, I'm not going to go with you to get the doll you sent to kill me. No matter how good you say you are, that's going to take some time, you know. Um, but we get that, and Jake has this moment of redemption in her eyes where she starts to fall. Jake catches her, and he's got two choices. He can let her fall to be hurt and subsequently, what we don't know at the time, but be stabbed by Chucky, or he can pull her up and save her. And you can see him think about it, but he pulls her up. And as he is, you got Chucky walking out of the shadows with this glorious, glorious face. Actually, I'll see if I can find a picture of it. But you've got the whole dynamic of, do I let her drop? Do I save her? All this, and Jake ends up saving her, which in my eyes was just a beautiful little, it's showing progression for Jake. In this episode, it was supposed to kind of make us more on Lexi's side. Like, she starts showing that she actually cares about her sister, wherein where in the last episode she's just like, yeah, I really don't give a shit. You know, the most we seen her actually care about her sister before this episode was when she was tucking her little sister into bed and asked to sing her a song. Like, we really do not give two shits about this character. We want her to die, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to want to change the thought process on that. And I am not finding anything on Google related to that Chucky. I guess I just am not typing in the right things. Our flashback for this episode is Chucky telling a bunch of kids okay, here we go. This will actually tie into the flashback as well. But flashback we get is Chucky telling a story of Peter Pan to all these kids at the orphan's home, because in the last episode we saw that he killed his mother and father, or he killed his mother. And he's changing up the story of Peter Pan to be more aligned with him. He kills the kids who don't want to grow up. And then they decide to go on an adventure, their own little Peter Pan adventure. And find Captain Hook and extinguish him. But before they make that journey, he has a run in with the janitor. And the janitor, you know, scuffs up his shoes or something. Something just ridiculous. And Chucky's like, okay, just blows it off. And they go off and have this little adventure. And when they come to Captain Hook, it's the janitor with his hand cut off, a hook stuck in where his hand used to be, which I am convinced that's a callback to Child's Play 2, where Chucky had his hand chopped off and a knife inserted where his hand was. All of this, and 2 out of the 3 kids run. The other one is sitting there poking him with the stick. Where Chucky looks at him and says, "You got guts, kid." Which is the same thing the serial killer said to him in the flashback in episode 3. So, just so he doesn't get caught, he's leaving the group home. He's going to go out on the run. And he leaves behind something for his little buddy. And we find out the name of that child is Eddie Caputo. So, the reason I said that this picture would tie into that is because it shows the did it really not save? What the fuck? It shows Eddie and the there we go. But that is the Toxic Avenger Two-Faced Chucky that we get in this episode, and a Eddie Caputo picture from, I believe that's from Child's Play 1. But essentially this one's flashback is how those two became friends. Or partners. Then we got I'm all over the place with this, and I'm sorry. Like, I've been trying to plan this video out for the last 2 days, and I've been sick as shit. We're in the house. Chucky's trying to kill him, and the only thing that saves him is this detective walks in. And he's like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here. It's a crime scene." "Oh, your dad wanted me to come get this doll." And he could go back and tell the dad, "Hey, the doll's fucked up." But no, he takes this burnt ass looking doll back to a child who is on life support, pretty much. He gets there, and he's like, he looks around the room and sees all this food, and he just starts taking a bite out of something, putting it down, and it goes on for a good amount of time until Chucky finally throws a fucking scalpel through his spine, and he falls back, lands on it. He's like, "I can't move." And Chucky says, "Well, that's because I hit your spinal cord." And essentially letting them know, "Hey, I fucking paralyzed you. I know what I'm doing." And then he grabs a bunch of needles, which for me was just, oh, I don't do needles. But he grabs a bunch of needles and he starts stabbing him, and he said, "From the first second I saw your fucking face, I knew I wanted you dead. And then he looks in the mirror and he says, maybe I'm projecting. And just starts stabbing the motherfucker. And I mean, that alone would have been just a typical sci-fi kill. But they had to go over the top and show the blood coming from every orifice of his body based on the cocktail of medications that Chucky had just given him. Um, I mean, overall, I liked episode 4 better than I liked episode 3. Especially right there at the end. Lexi sitting there waiting on the doll to come up to Caroline's room. And, sorry. And Devin pulls her to the side. He's like, hey, do you have a minute to talk about that doll? And she's like, yeah, I don't think you're going to believe me. And he said, yeah, try me. Come back to my room. Go off and they start talking. Well, when Chucky, Jake, and the others come running to the room where the dude had just been killed, Chucky's sitting in the corner and he looks up and starts smiling, and that's the way it ends. Something I almost forgot about is Devin's mom, the detective, pulls Jake off into the to the waiting room or something to question him about these murders. Basically saying, hey, I know you know something. Tell me so I can help you. And that's got a lot of people speculating that Tyler could have been Devin's father. Tyler from Child's Play 3 could have been Devin's father in all this. Because how else would a detective think, hey, I've heard these stories about good guy dolls killing before. Now, this good guy is popping up at every crime scene. But I don't think that's it at all. It would be a cool little twist, but I don't think that's what's going on. I believe that we've got more on our hands than that. I think that it's possible she was a little girl around the time that Andy had Chucky. There's so many possibilities, but the one reason that I say that Tyler is not Devin's father is because Tyler was not his first name. His name was Ronald Tyler, which would not fit with Devin Evans unless Ronald Tyler and Lieutenant Evans, or whatever she is, Detective Evans, was not married, and Tyler's name was not on the birth certificate. But that would be a lot to explain in that little amount of time. We're halfway through the season, and it's coming down to crunch time, But yeah, like I said, overall I liked episode 4 a lot more than I liked episode 3. I tried to quit watching the sneak previews because they show too much, but I always end up getting informed of what happened in the sneak previews. You've got certain YouTubers who I love to watch, Uh, we got 3C film reviews, Nightmare Crypt, and Cody Leach. And it seems like as soon as I quit watching the sneak previews because I felt like they showed too much, I started hearing about the sneak previews in somebody's video. Didn't matter if it was one. It didn't matter whose it was. Um, and that's not a shot at them. That's their videos. That's how they make them. I'm not gonna quit watching because they talk about them. But I feel as though the companies need to do better at not showing just or just as much as they do in the sneak previews. Like episode 4, they explicitly showed Lexi when episode 3 ended on the cliffhanger of did she die, did she live? Well, if you're going to show it in a sneak preview, why not just come out and say, hey, she lived. This is how she lived. Then with episode 5 coming up, from what I understand, we're getting some legacy characters coming back. I'm not going to spoil that or how they come back or anything like that. But I do feel as though that Sci-Fi and USA, maybe it's them. Maybe Don Mancini has nothing to do with the sneak previews. But I feel like Sci-Fi and USA needs to tone it back a little bit. Not show quite as much as they do in the previews for the next episodes. Because, they've already got us hooked. Like, I'm watching religiously. Every Tuesday night while I'm on lunch break at work, I'm watching religiously. And if I don't watch it while I'm at work on lunch break, then I'll turn around and watch it as soon as I get home Wednesday morning. So it shouldn't be that, they're afraid they're going to lose viewers. In my opinion, they just need to tone it back just a little bit. But anyways, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all next time.